Hi there, and my name is Ashley, and I'm the guy that did this video, Crime Scene Cleaners, which was part of our Man's Work series. You may notice I look a little older now, a bit more fucked up. That's because I did this TV show some time ago, maybe even a decade ago, I'm not sure. I remember Crime Scene Cleaners very well, and I just wanted to respond to some of the comments that you guys have put here. There's nearly 600 of them. It's quite strange because we did 10, maybe 12 episodes of Man's Work, but the only one that people appear to be watching is the Crime Scene Cleaners one, but that's all good. So I thought I'd respond to some of the comments. Just briefly, some background. I spent a week in San Francisco with this guy Neil, who runs Crime Scene Cleaners Inc., a company, and they go around and they clear up the mess left by death, suicide, and obviously crime. So there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of gore, the bodies have gone, they've been investigated by the police, the crime scene is then declared open to be cleared up, and so you end up going to hotel rooms, for instance, or domestic areas where these horrific incidents have taken place. And the vast majority of the comments obviously are quite critical of Neil, calling him a psychopath and lacking empathy. These are things that I reacted against through the making of this documentary, because I too was a little put off, very put off by his, let's say, uncaring attitude. And yet there are also comments that say, this guy is in the right job. You can't be full of empathy and sympathy and love for these victims when you have to clear up the mess. You can't start reconstructing what tragedy happened in that room to bring about this disaster for various individuals. And in some ways I sympathise also with that point of view. That's the general feeling that I have. So let's look at some of the individual comments. I did enjoy them, I have to say. So thank you all of you who left a message, and I've highlighted a few which are more to do with me rather than for Neil, because Neil can answer for himself. As for myself, Zachary Taylor writes, Ashley, just a bitch. That's great. Oh, wonderful. I kind of, I can take the hits, baby. So Zachary, thank you for that comment. I kind of loved it. Made me laugh. Not sure if that was your intention, but I fucking loved it, dude. Next comment comes from Shane Lauer. Please describe the smell. And then he says, thank you for making this. I really appreciate it. Well, let me describe the smell for you, Shane. Metallic is what I would say. When there's so much blood around, the smell is just overpowering. So there's blood in a particular scene in the documentary. We're in a motel room and there was blood everywhere. That was quite shocking to me. I'd never experienced that. I remember that in the mortuary scene, the smell of death. How is that smell of death? Well, in the mortuary it was very cold, but you just get this presence in the air of I would say just a slightly putrid is how I would describe it. But it's it makes you feel queasy. It's too rich. It feels heavy. That's how I would describe the smell. Okay, hope that helps you. Jugs McBulge. Interesting name there, Jugs. He writes, he has the reporter, clean pee. Ha! Jugs, go back to school. I appreciate the comment, but it's just, your English needs a little work. Clean pee. Maybe you were saying he makes the reporter clean up the pee. Yes, they did make me clean up the pee in the back of the car. And yeah, wasn't great. I mean, these are not my favourite activities, but you know, someone had to do the job, and that week it was me. Let's move on to Dolly Lux. I was so glad, she writes, or he writes, I was so glad that you decided to not sugarcoat shit and tell Neil straight up that his disgusting comments bothered you. Well, thank you for that comment. And yeah, I guess being English, I've always been brought up to be very polite, perhaps not as forthcoming as I always wanted to be. And I think during the making of this documentary, I was so provoked by Neil that I was left with no other option but to just, like you say, tell him straight up what I thought. I have no regrets about that. I'd do the same thing again, if not even more forcefully, now that I'm a little older and I can't be really asked with filtering stuff. You know, just tell it how it is. Life is much better like that, even though you run the risk of offending people. But fuck it, I think it's better to portray yourself as you are and how you're feeling, and be criticised for it rather than sugarcoat, as you say, and you'll still get criticised for that. So I'd rather be 100% me and get shit for it. Next comment comes from Mum. Hi Mum. Mum writes, the guy that is trying to be a man has obviously never had a girlfriend. It's just brilliant. Well, you're describing somebody else here because, I mean, I'm not boasting or anything. It was completely normal, isn't it? You know, at the time of making this documentary, I was in my 30s and I had a few girlfriends by that point. So sorry to delude you on that front, Mum. I hope that's not my real mum writing that. Okay, Misha Non-Penguin. I remember Ashley from Sin Cities. God damn, yeah. Thank you, Misha. Cool. I'm glad you've watched both series. That was an interesting journey for me, doing Sin Cities and then Man's Work. I preferred doing Man's Work. It had more depth to it, and yeah, I really got into it. Really immersed myself in these experiences. Crime scene cleaning, not least. Okay, moving on to Ace for Magic, who simply writes, Big Cook, Little Cook. Now, some of the English viewers may know this. I kind of resemble a more famous, more successful person who was in Big Cook, Little Cook. Weirdly enough, I met him once in a pub and shared a drink with him. Really nice guy. Similar hair. Karen May writes, God bless you, Ashley. The world is a better place with you in it. How lovely and sweet of you to say that, Karen. Not sure it's entirely true, but I appreciate the sentiment. And lastly, Aaron S. writes, you're too soft for America. Go home. Well, Aaron, you'll be very happy to know that I did go home. And after living in England for some more years, I find myself now living in Italy, which is a far more effeminate place. They're really into fashion and talking about food and things like that. So you'll be happy to know that I've finally found my spiritual home. Okay, well guys, that's the end of me commenting on your comments. Thanks for writing and letting me know what you think. Feel free to write a few more comments below this video if you wish. And just to let you know, there are other episodes in this series. It's great that you're all watching Crime Scene Cleaners, but there's loads of others. No one's watching them. I mean, that's fine too. But just to let you know, they are out there. Okay guys, that's all from me. Keep enjoying YouTube, okay? Speak to you later. Bye bye.